Hey everyone, I don't see any reason not to get started since it's already full. Hi guys, we're going to have a hands-on, well, some pretend hands-on coding. We'll be showing you some code, we'll be doing some fun stuff, checking out Firebase and some other of Google's tools that you can build with. So I'm Matt Feigal, I'm based out of Amsterdam. I work on the self-driving bike team in Amsterdam, but outside, when it's not April 1st, I actually work on the Google Cloud Platform team. So it's really fun to be here. This is a much more intimate audience than yesterday. We did this at Founders Day yesterday, and now I'm like really looking at everybody. It's a different experience. Actually, so since I'm looking at everybody, actually I'd like to get to know who we have here. Finland has a whole bunch of game developers. So who here has a game development background? Who's built games in the past? One? Only one person? Two, three, okay. But you got the ball rolling, thanks. Now, who here is a startup CEO? Startup CEO? One? Two? Am I at Slush? There's got to be more startup CEOs here. Okay, good. Then the rest of you are working at startups, hopefully. Who in your startup pitch deck, who has the word platform in your startup pitch deck? Okay, who has serverless somewhere in your startup pitch deck? No, okay, we're playing bullshit bingo here, right? I mean pitch deck bingo. Oops. Also machine learning. David was just talking about machine learning. Who's got machine learning in their pitch deck now, and who's going to have it in by 2017? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to give a prize to the first person who raised their hand, which is you. Cardboard. So the idea is to pay attention during this demo that we're building, because by the time we're done, if you go home tonight and you practice what we've shown you today with the GitHub repos or anything, you can come back into Slush tomorrow and show your venture capitalists your interactive multiplayer platform that is serverless backends and using machine learning tools. So that's like the holy grail of pitch decks at the moment, right? We're here with the Google Cloud Platform team. You saw David talking about it. There's another talk after me about Cloud Platform. There's a whole candy store of tools in the Cloud Platform suite that lets your development team at your startup build really fast. It's going to make your techies really, really excited. And you as a startup should also be excited, because what you want is you need your service to run in an efficient way. So we've got everything that you need for that, from NoSQL databases, container orchestration as a service. We have message queues, a massively scalable analytics engine. These are things that your startup needs in order to save on the people as you grow. Because as you are growing, you need your developers to just be continuing to build. Every minute your techies spend should be a minute spent on making your product better, on making your customers happier. You shouldn't ever be trying to build something that someone else has built before, or you shouldn't ever let them get dragged down in the fix and fiddle of why isn't this working. You'd rather have four techies on your team always working on the next features on the next release, than say 7 techies on your team who are staying up all night worrying about what's going to happen when you have that ad on television and you get 2 million new users and the servers are going to start crashing. You don't want your techies stressing out about that. You want them working on the next thing in the sprint, the next roadmap piece. So this is really about keeping your team small, keeping your techies at like 3 or 4 techies for your successful startup instead of an operations team of 7 or 10. Today we're going to pick 2 of the Google Cloud Platform products out of that whole candy store, which is a lot. It's a lot to take in and a lot to figure out what you should be using. So we're going to take 2 of those pieces from the candy store and compose them into a funny but reasonably interesting application, reasonably complex application that shows how by building on top of these tools, by putting them together, you guys can compose actually move really fast on your roadmap. The end result is an application that's fully serverless. There's no patching, no server patching, no downtime, no moments of like staying awake at night during those critical moments of growth. So the main workhorse for this application is going to be Firebase. And if you're using the Slush application today, you're actually using a lot of the Firebase features. And I've talked to a bunch of Firebase developers already here, people in the Finnish community that are using Firebase. And kind of I asked them what is interesting for them, and they said it's this suite of integrated tools. What they liked the most about it was this suite of integrated tools that they can use in every project. So they started on one project and they fall in love with it, and it lets them fire up project 2, project 3, project 4 with all the things they've learned in it. And it's got pretty much every tool they need to build their application, to grow users, to increase their user base, and then to earn money on the application. So I'm going to go into a lot. We're going to have my talk and the next talk will go into a lot more details. The second piece I wanted to pull in was machine learning, because everyone is interested in machine learning these days. David was just talking about it. What Google's launched recently is a bunch of APIs. So what we've done is we've trained models on Google's huge data set. So the speech API, the natural language API, the translate API, these are all built on Google's huge data set of information, and then offered to you as an API that you simply just need to call. The reliability and the response times are monitored by Google's engineers, so you don't have to put any work in. All you do is send your picture. In this case, we're going to use pictures. We're going to use Cloud Vision. You just send your picture to Cloud Vision, and you get an JSON response back. And then your application decides what to do with that JSON response. There's a lot of information you can get. You can get like landmarks, you can do logo detection, you can actually find out what scene, what is in the scene. We're going to use the emotion detection today. So to make this interactive experience, we wanted to make a game. The game that we've created is basically rock, paper, scissors. Super simple game, right? Rock covers, breaks scissors, scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock. Does that make any sense? No, not really. But it lets us build a reasonably interesting model for multiplayer interaction. So to bring Cloud Vision into it, we're going to use face recognition and have happy, angry, surprised in the same rock, paper, scissors. So happy is going to beat angry. Angry is going to beat surprised. Surprised will beat happy, right? So happy beats angry. Surprised beats happy. Angry beats surprised. Make sense? Clear? Okay. So you can plug Firebase into just about any platform. It's very easy to plug it into Android or to iOS. We even have people here that I've talked to already doing plugging with the Unity plugins. This is a lot simpler. This is a simple web application that we've plugged it into. We've just connected Firebase into our web application with basic HTML and simple JavaScript. The components we're using here, you see, is there's on the top right, there's a login button or log out button, because to identify your users, who are they? Then, of course, we need to chat, because you need to be able to talk to the other users in the game. And we have under open games, we have matchmaking. So that's where we have some logic around who's playing what games together. And the main bulk of the application, of course, is we take the picture from my webcam. We take the picture from my webcam, process it through Cloud Vision. I see the picture of my opponent on the other side of the internet, and we see who's the winner. So to get building this, well, first step we do is we actually need to just get Firebase into our application. So say you've got an existing application or you're starting on a new application, you basically need to identify yourself to the Firebase backend services. By doing this, you simply you grab the keys for your application, you put them in your Android app or your web application, and in this case, I've just copied the snippet of code. You grab these right from the Firebase console. Oops, let's see if I can. So if I go to the Firebase console, for instance, I can just get the Android keys that I need, or the snippet of code that I'm going to need to connect this into my application. I'm going to have to change my keys now because people were taking pictures of that. But basically, I just copy and paste that into the JavaScript of my application, and I've basically unlocked all of those back-end services. Now, when I'm sitting down to code my application, I can use any of these services without thinking about a backend. Nowhere in this service, nowhere in using any of those services we mentioned that we're going to go through, do we have a backend server to worry about anywhere. So my application is now unlocked every single one of those Firebase applications. So the first example of this is authentication, right? Building authentication into your startup application or your game is probably one of the most challenging things and most critical things to do right. And especially, you're going to have back-end servers, or you're going to be figuring out, do we want people to log in with their email and password, or Facebook, or Google, or Twitter? And it's a real headache to think about. And in Firebase, you just plug it in, and you've got the whole thing running in moments. So in this case, we have the login button on our page. The login button is going to let us log in with it's going to take advantage of Firebase Authentication. Firebase Authentication makes it really easy to just plug in any of these things. We can start with email and password. We can start with Facebook. We can add things in later. We don't have to predict in advance everything, because that's pretty hard to do. And it just makes it so simple to get it embedded in your application. It also takes care of all of the session management and key management for security for you. Even things like the email and password flows. Say you need to do email verification, or a user needs to reset their password. Like, you don't want your developers to have to think through that flow and program it and get it right. Because if you get it wrong, you screw up and you expose security information, or worse, better, hard to tell, you lose user conversion because people drop out of your application. So it's really simple. Our web application is just going to run a couple lines of code, and the important one has a bar through it. Oops. Sign in with email and password. We just call this on Firebase, and we trigger the Firebase sign-in process for email and password. Same thing with if we want to expand our scope and include Google, this is allowing us to include Google authentication as well. So, for instance, if we log in, let me create an account. Okay, not using a live address. So I'm all now logged in, and I also, as soon as I logged in, I activated the create game and send messaging buttons as well. If we want to actually see, I can see that user was now created already in my user database. So we just created this new user in my new database. We've got keys for them. They're authenticated, so they're actually already registered. And you can see all the other things that Slush Firebase has, analytics and all of these other great tools. And next sort of thing, the next thing we build into our game is chat. Any game, interactive experience needs to have chat, because you need to be able to make fun of your other players. So in this case, we're taking a very simple, the display name and the text from the user, and we're just pushing it out. We want this to happen real time, and you don't want to have to worry about WebSockets and protocols and offline. What happens when your user's offline? And am I draining my user's battery by always listening? Firebase, this is one of the key features of Firebase. The real-time database makes this super simple to keep information in line across multiple clients without you stressing out about it at all. You can think of Firebase real-time database as just a NoSQL database. It is a NoSQL database. Sound changed a little. Okay. It's a NoSQL database in the cloud. You can think of it as a JSON tree that you can interact with, that you can subscribe. You can tell Firebase, hey, if the part of this JSON tree here or here changes, I'd like you to let me know about it. And then when someone changes something, when someone adds something, it will automatically update all the clients. This is great whether I'm one user working on multiple devices, or whether I'm many users looking at the same data. It's very handy that you as developers don't really have to think this through. So how do we do this? We'll start with basically in our Firebase database, we create a reference point where we're going to store our data. In this case, we're going to put everything under chat. Remember, I mentioned this is basically a JSON tree. So we're going to throw all the messages under chat. And all we do is we take the display name and the message, and we push it into that node. It automatically gets created in that node with a unique ID, and everything is nicely ordered. And when I want to display that on my website in my JavaScript, I just I use the reference on child added. So when a new message comes in, I'm telling Firebase, every time a new message comes in here, please tell me about it immediately. And we can demonstrate this. Let's see. Louwrens, are you logged in? I've got my buddy Louwrens down there in the audience. I mean, of course, a chat message isn't the most exciting demo you can see in the world, but the sense... Oh, I think he needs to log in or something. Oh, it's always difficult running demos. Maybe I need to reload. Oh. OK, Louwrens, I'm in. Send me another one. Sorry about that. OK. My fault. OK. He wasn't my demo buddy. No, he's a good guy. OK. So, but the chat, I mean, that chat was enabled with just a couple lines of code, and everything's synchronized between all the clients that are listening to it. So now let's talk about what the game looks like. The gameplay is going to be pretty simple, but this is actually where you start to get more complexity in, and your application, your client application, will want to manage this with Firebase. So a user creates a game, another user joins the game. We take a picture, and then we have to put that picture somewhere, and I'll get to that in a second. We pass that picture into Cloud Vision, and we tell Firebase. Firebase decides who the winner is and tells both the clients whether they've won or lost. To do this, we use Firebase Storage. This is where we're going to upload. We need some place to upload our picture that we can send it to Cloud Vision and that the other player can see it. Otherwise, how are we going to be able to see each other's faces in the game? We need to be able to share this information together. Firebase is backed by Google Cloud Storage. So that means you can put petabytes of data, heaps and heaps of data that you can do all sorts of good, wonderful magic on, edge caching, passing it to Cloud Vision, things like that. And what's even better is because it's exposed through Firebase, this is really one of the simplest ways I've found to interact with cloud storage. It basically is built into the Firebase API that you don't need to break out and learn another way to talk to cloud storage. You don't need to have any backend servers pushing it in. In your Firebase client code, you basically call directly from Firebase out into the storage. So Firebase storage, the same way we created a database point to mount our chat messages, we're going to create a reference in storage with a unique, we create a unique key for the game and a unique key for the user. And we just push our data into that Firebase point, exactly the way we would with a JSON blob, but now with an image. And it's going to get thrown into cloud storage without you needing to worry about it. If we had time, I would show you that bucket and show you where those images are. And then when the upload is finished, we receive the URL to it that we can use for Cloud Vision or in our game. To bring us into Cloud Vision, to send this message to Cloud Vision, it's really as simple as just creating the request that you want. So a request is take this path, take the file, this file that we have, the GCS path. That's the image I want Cloud Vision to process. What do I want to do? In this case, we only want to do face detection. There's a lot of other stuff you could do, like adult content detection. We probably wouldn't want to show that file to the user. Logo detection. In this case, we just want the face, and only one of them. And then Cloud Vision will return to us the information that we want for our game. Is it joy, anger, or surprise? This is what we're looking for in our game, and how likely is it? It's really that simple, just to push the image, get the JSON back, and use it in our application. I'm going to skip, and then Firebase will tell us who the winner is. And it is demo time. So if we had more time, I could happily show you, more details of the code. we could run the Firebase deploy. Should I run a Firebase deploy and just see if we break it now? No. Yes? Oh my God. How much do I trust? I definitely shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to break the entire thing right now. Update available. Uh-oh. See, I shouldn't have done it. Okay, it's deploying anyway. So basically, that just packaged up my Firebase application that I had in my code folder, deployed all the JavaScript to Firebase storage, and provisioned the databases that we needed. Actually, those would be happen automatically when we call them. So I think we need a volunteer from the audience to play the game. How about that guy who made me run the deploy? Coming up. Hi, what's your name?
Marco.
Marco. Cool. Let's finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Louwrens, do you want to join for the... Sorry? Oh, yeah, and can we have another volunteer who wants to fight? You, okay. Oh, shit, I only have one prize to give away. We'll give this to the winner then, okay. So, I'm going to go back to my game. And, oh, Louwrens has already created the game. So, basically, so Louwrens created the game already. So we can see that he's got a game that we can join. Do you want to join the, if you want to come over to this, the camera's going to be right here. And we'll click on join the game. And then you have 5 seconds to decide if you're going to be happy, angry, or surprised. And then you can see it down here, but...
Tell me when it starts.
It's starting. You have 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Angry and angry. It's a draw. They're both angry. All right, we need to do another one. This is good. Did I reload my whole? We're okay. Okay, Louwrens, do you want to create it again or should we? Oh, he's so fast. Okay, you ready to go again? Go for it. Great. Let's see what happens. Happy and... Okay, the nice thing is when we're working on flaky networks, Firebase deals pretty well with offline online, so as soon as his network gets connected, it should push the message, but I don't know, I haven't tried flaky networks and photos at the same time. You want to do it? Oh, it did do well with flaky networks. It got there in the end. You lost. You won. Oh, we lost. You won. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining. And Anastasia?
Anastasia. Actually, my wristband also recognizes emotions.
Oh, this is
cool. Physiology.
Cool.
It's so cool.
Cool. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And wait, you were the winner, so
Great.
you get a prize.
Awesome. Yes.
Cool. Thanks. Oh my God, the demo worked. That was good news. Okay, so that's the end. Except for if you want to try this yourself, so firebase.google.com is a great place to get started. You click go to console, you get the credentials, you put it in your Android app, and you get running, or your website. Vision is really easy to get started. If you go to cloud.vision.google.com, cloud.google.com/vision, you scroll down the page a ways, there's a spot that says try it here. You just click that, you upload your own picture to it, and you can see immediately what it saw. You can see immediately the JSON that it returns or some nice visuals if you prefer that. So that's super easy just to test it out by going to that website, scrolling down, uploading a picture to it, and you can see if the API actually meets your needs. If you want to actually go do this demo for your investor tomorrow, the GitHub link is right there. Maybe turn it to blue so it's not so obvious that you just stole it from a GitHub page. And also, I don't know if we have time. I have no idea if it's going to work well. But if you guys want to open up your laptops, it doesn't work well on it works sort of on mobile, but the web page isn't optimized for that. If you want to sit in the audience and try it out yourself, that's the website you can try on your laptop, and we can play a game together if you want to try it. We're basically going to be hanging around here for questions. I think I'm out of time for my next speaker. No. Oh. Should I be risky again and take another question, or should I just hand it over? Should I one question? No. Yeah. Questions? Do you want to see Cloud Vision in action? Should I upload something into Cloud Vision? Do it. Okay. Yeah. Do that in a second. So, going to cloud.vision.com. This is actually true for any of the cloud machine learning tools like Speech API or Translate API. They all have on the front page just a really easy way to try it. So I'm just going to drag a picture on here, tell it I'm not a robot, and we can actually see what it told us. Okay, so it's recognized that there's cycles, sports, actually can determine colors, give us a safe search thing. Okay, it's unlikely to be, and we can actually see the JSON responses. So we actually get, if this is a good way for me just to try it out and see, could I use this JSON in my application? Yes, I'll spend more time on this. No, oh well, I'll find another tool. Really nice. You wanted to see the cloud storage. So the storage is just accessed also through Firebase, or I could do this through my cloud.google.com console also. And these are all the games with their unique IDs and the users who uploaded to them. I've never actually tried loading a picture, a preview of the picture. Apparently the preview is not available, but you can see that the files are available there. And if I logged into my other storage console through cloud, the normal cloud, the cloud platform tools, I could also see the storage. That's a good question. Other questions on like how it works or what you want to see?
Can you say something about remote configs?
No. Jerry from Quick will be talking a lot about remote configs in his talk, and that's the only reason I won't do it, and also because I don't have much prepared. Jerry, do you want to talk? No, he's not. Do you want to talk about remote configs for a second? Basically, remote configs is like a way to build A/B testing into your app that, like, without pushing changes to your client, you can test out different changes. One thing I didn't touch because, well, it was sort of in the scope creep section of my slides, is that there's actually a section called scope creep. Is Firebase Analytics is a very nice tool that's free in Firebase that lets you basically build user analytics, basically do event tracking of your users in your application. So, I mentioned that there was this whole suite of tools in Firebase that you get just by, the Firebase real-time database is great, Auth is great, but this is like an amazing tool you just get and you don't have to think about separately. So it'll automatically start tracking some events, and then you can also configure your custom events that you want to track. If you really want to get fancy, this will export out into Google BigQuery, where then you can write your own SQL statements across it and explore it and merge it with your other user data, which is quite interesting. But did I get Google remote config? Was that good enough? No, you want more, don't you? Talk with me and Jerry on a break. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate your attention, and have a really fun time here.